We got him. We got him. We're going to protect the people of this city and apprehend those who believe they can bring terror to everyday New Yorkers.
Fox News alert, the maniac who shot up a New York City subway train arrested after a 30-hour manhunt. Brand new video showing 62-year-old Frank James leaving the police precinct there. Cops taking him into custody after someone spotted him at a McDonald's. He now faces a terrorism charge after going on a rampage, shooting 10 people, setting off a smoke bomb, and injuring 19 others. He also had fireworks and was carrying an axe. Police say he had been riding the subways just hours after carrying out the attack, and officials facing criticism because cameras inside the station weren't working. Dana pressing Mayor Adams on that earlier.
How is it possible that the transit authority had all of this money and the cameras in the station weren't working?
And that is what we are communicating with transit officials now. We want to know if there was any particular reason, if it was a feeder problem.
We're also learning more about the suspect. Authorities revealing he has a long rap sheet that includes 12 prior arrests in New York and in New Jersey. Thankfully, the deranged gunman was spotted by a citizen.
Look how many people have in New York, nobody gets him. Like, I was working inside the store and I get him. That's good, something from the God. Yeah. That's good, something from the God, and we get him. Always we engage these people in America. We don't want any problem here in America because here life is good.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets a reward, doesn't he, Dana?
Yeah, $50,000.
$50,000.
But I think that his reward seems to me like the pride.
Yeah, that
and
was
he
good.
loves the city and he wants to be a part of it. Mayor Adams came on America's Newsroom today. We were glad to have him in his first interview on Fox News Channel. And look, I think a lot of people in the city are pulling for him. This is obviously a good result to get to this point. But he also on another network talked about what can be done to try to prevent these things from happening. I mean, he had a lot of this. This perpetrator had a lot of social media posts in his past, right? And there's all of these little clues, and that we only seem to get to the clues after the fact. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that the crime in the city, the fraying, decaying piece of the city, this really shattered that. So many families live here, and you cannot afford to take an Uber everywhere. The subways are so important to the lifeblood of the city. So it's good that they caught him. I think that there was obviously great coordination amongst the law enforcement, but certainly the citizens like that gentleman.
Greg Gutfeld, your thoughts on the arrest?
It's amazing. I mean, where would a city be without sound police work? We're saying this after a couple of years now, where the police, force was pulled back. There were fewer police officers in the subway. There were even fewer police officers on the street. We were all supposed to be, they were more dangerous than the criminals. But there will always end up being the people that clean up the messes created by the malignant neglect of our, criminal justice system and the mentally ill that are allowed to be on the streets. It's not social workers. It's not outreach coordinators. It's not social justice activists that catch these guys. It's the police, the people that we've been demonizing for the past 2 years. You said something about the clues. He was on an FBI watch list, right? He was.
Newsweek reported that.
Yeah, he had 12
interviewed him.
But the reason why the clues didn't fit a narrative, he wasn't part of a white supremacy movement. Maybe he was. Maybe he's a closet white supremacist. I don't know. But, the FBI had him on a watch list, and boy, did they watch him, because they were too busy focusing on parents at school board meetings, people on January 6th, the preparing a kidnapping of a governor. So this is just another example of kind of an uncomfortable narrative that, as you said yesterday, may in fact be going away quicker than we think because it didn't fit what the media wants.
Judge Jeanine Pirro, they got him. So that's good news, but shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Well, first of all, they got him. We knew that they would get him. The New York City Police Department, as far as I'm concerned, I've had 30 years experience. They're the finest police department in the world. Yep. There is no question. It was the Crime Stoppers, which is a very important program for any prosecutor's office and any police department. People will jump hurdles to get money to report a crime, and it works. And it worked in this case. I think the sad part of all this, when you see the politicians like the governor yesterday running up and saying, this has to stop, and even with the mayor today, now we're going to make sure we catch this guy who attempted to murder New York citizens. So I called the brain room, and I said, how many citizens have actually been killed since Mayor Adams became mayor? And they said 103. Now, all of a sudden, we're definitely going to stop these people. No, we're not. Mayor Adams went to Albany. He came back and talked about racism when he should have talked about bail reform. He should have talked about getting rid of they got rid of qualified immunity for police. We should put $1 billion back into the police force. AOC had everybody convinced that we don't need cops on the metro line. We don't need cops in the subway. Look. There is no surprise here other than the fact that it's good old-fashioned law enforcement that works and that keeps us safe and that will make this city prosper again. But right now, this man has single-handedly scared everyone who thought about going back on the subway and public transportation and people with kids. And my own daughter, who lives in Brooklyn, is now like, that's it, I'm done. And it's a shame. All they have to do to make this city the citadel on the hill that it once was to restore law and order.
Geraldo Rivera.
We're just thinking of restoration. Defund the police peaked in 2020. Now is refund the police. I guarantee you this will be the impetus, the catalyst for a new pro-police vibe in this town, sorely lacking. I have 2 kids in Brooklyn also. They take the N, they take the R. This is by far the worst atrocity on the subway ever. So we can't use this as the example of how awful the subways are. When I was growing up, with the graffiti and the thugs and all the rest of it, was a far more harrowing experience going down into the subways. But everybody needs to feel good about it. It's the artery that connects the 5 boroughs. So, 350 square miles, something like that? It's so spread out. Without the subways, the city will not be one unit. It'll be scattered communities everywhere. So it is vital that the mayor do it. I think he's on the right track. It's ironic. I've been in the business a long time. We got him. I knew I had heard that before. We got him. It was Paul Bremer, ambassador, 2003, Iraq, when they got Saddam Hussein. I celebrated that. I celebrate that. Frank, what's his name, getting caught?
James.
Frank James. He's a loser. The mental illness component is undeniable. I think a bigger clue to what we need to do is monitoring YouTube and social media, because this guy was all over it. I mean, what do you want him to say? Next Thursday, I'm going to blow up. And I also really want to commend you. I thought it took guts for you on your evening show yesterday. It is dangerous not to report the race of a fugitive perp, dangerous felon on the lam, and you say he's 5'5" and heavy set. That could be like everybody else.
Let's point out, he's not 5'5". That was low profiling. Wasn't racial profiling. Low. You see him. He's got to be close to 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
He's big.
Well over 200 pounds.
But to bring up the race aspect of this is a hate crime, right? I mean, he targeted a neighborhood of minorities.
And if you look at his social media profile, he had a lot of hate.
Yeah, but the thing is that will be an angle that will not be approached, right? Because it doesn't fit the narrative.
Hey, Greg, unless you tell me that he only shot people of Asian descent or who were whites or this or that, and then identified circumstantially by words that it was a crime of hate. If you do it indiscriminately, which apparently he did, then how is it a hate crime?
Well, I think that's an assumption. We don't know how he chose those subway lines, why he hooked into Brooklyn. That is all to come. That's still to come. What is obvious is that this should be a federal offense, as it is. I'm delighted that they took it out of the hands of the local DA. God bless him. I started in the DA's office here in town. I believe the feds could do a much better job. They can get him for life, forever. Put them in, 6 stories underground.
Let me tell you the reason the feds have it. The feds have it because under New York State, first of all, I think the DAs, whether they're in Brooklyn or Manhattan, don't have the power that some of the federal prosecutors do in terms of their determination. But our discovery in New York State is such that we couldn't possibly get all the victims and witnesses and cops and give them the discovery that they'd have to have in 15 days.
And
only the feds, they don't have that with the feds.
There's no question the feds do have jurisdiction.
And he'll never see the light of day after this.
You have to remind yourself about these surveillance cameras, none of them working when you had a mayor put up a billboard mocking Florida, over a parental rights bill.
Yep.
And it's like, Adults have to be in charge of cities to get the priorities right. Liberals do not have the priorities correct, and the cops bail them out every single time. Every time they catch a perp.
I don't mean to talk so much, but there's a surveillance camera on every corner, every bodega, every shop, every supermarket. There is surveillance. If you commit a crime outside, forget the stories of the surveillance cameras not working. You will be caught.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The speed cameras are never broken.
I mean, I just got 2 red light cameras the other day.
By the way,
how come those are working and the ones in the subways are off?
Because it's an incentive to work. They get money out of it.
And you know what? If you remember Epstein, those cameras weren't working. These cameras. I'm tired of hearing about it. Fire these people.
All right. We're going to get to the bottom of the cameras. Coming up next, President Biden getting a special delivery from Texas after letting the border crisis run wild.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.